I've got a book deal with HarperCollins, hardback.
Nice.
We're released on the 16th of January, and they want me to be available for any PR.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So, and I don't want to say, oh, I've got this fucking, I can't. I mean, this is a big shout. It'll not happen, but it'll be like, hey, Paul, we've got you on Good Morning Britain. Can you go? Oh no, sorry, I've got a fucking podcast booked in.
Yes.
Like, or an event booked in or something. So there'll be a period where the income gets hit, but on the other side of that's big move.
Like, I would have happily let you do that. Like, just name drop me on Good Morning Britain, and we're all
like,
square.
it's like,
we're all square.
Honestly, I'm cancelling so many things. I was going to put on a 2.5 day speaking course for people, and I was like, I could easily do between 20 and 30 grand on that. And I was like, I had to cancel it. I looked at my schedule. I was like, I can't put that in.
I've learned that so much more this year. Because this year I've gone through a divorce.
Have you?
Yeah, like the move back from Hong Kong straight into a fucking divorce. And it's like, oh, great.
Fun.
So like, something Stephen Bartlett said that really resonated with me.
We're starting now, you know.
Oh, we started, right?
We may as well.
We're fucking good.
Say what you're going to say.
Yeah. So like, I'm all for this, but I did a podcast recently with Jordan Shallow, aiming to talk about training. Didn't talk about training at all.
Well,
they're all fucking good. But no, he said like, if you've only got 40%, if you've only got 40% and you give 40%, you gave 100%.
Yeah.
And that has fueled me the last 6 months.
Yeah,
like,
that's nice.
What do I give energy to?
Yeah.
That is, one, going to drive the business forward, but also what are things like, for sake of the podcast, I've had people that have come through the podcast into my business, but it's not really an earner.
No.
But I just love this. I am here.
So do I.
Chatting to, I've followed you for probably close to a decade.
Oh, shit.
Right? Because through Instagram, Facebook, and then through Rob and Lewis.
You know my whole fucking journey.
Yeah, whole journey.
Do you know what, Simon? Like it's really interesting where I'm at right now, and it's from a book called Good to Great, actually, and they say the good's the enemy of great. So I'm trying to get to the next great for me, which means I'm not saying not the bad stuff, so it's not like I'm cutting things out that I don't want to do. I'm not cutting things out that I don't enjoy. I'm not cutting like boozing, like I've already got rid of all of that shit. So anything that's going to slow me down. So now I'm to let go of some shit that I enjoy and that's comfortable to make room. I've got to make room somewhere, right?
Yes.
So it's like, I love speaking, but to be fair, I've got a bigger mission, and that's building a cult. I'm trying to build a cult. Speaking's great and it pays very well.
Yes.
But then you've got the travel and all that stuff. I'm like, is this really building me cult, or is it something like I've stopped making reels? I've even stopped making reels because, again, I have Connor who does all the editing and all the creative bit. I just talk, but I'm like, with that time, so I can pay Connor, I can invest the time making reels. I'm paying him for his time. Would I not just be better off running a Facebook ad?
Yes. Yeah. I get that.
Yes, I would be. Because the thing is, with a reel, mate, you do it and you hope it goes viral. You hope people see it. When I run an ad, there's no hope. It's a fucking numbers game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's strategy. Whereas, and again, I enjoy making reels. I still make them. But that's why I say this is why, this is a little hack. It's not really a hack. You might get it. This is why I wanted to do it here. Because not only will me and you do a podcast, my audience will see you, your audience will see mine, but actually I'll get fucking 6 or 7 reels from this. Which means that I'm getting reels from something I'm already doing. Yes. Rather than sitting down and say, here are 3 ways to manage your mental health. Here are 2 ways to... You know what I mean? They're okay, but that's a completely separate... We're doing this anyway. So one thing that we just brought a brand new camera. Connor set it up today. We'll try it for the first time. When I'm running my Zoom calls, right, for my clients, he's put a camera above me computer. My computer, I sound old saying that. Sorry, me Mac. He set a camera above me Mac, which is going to record stuff for reels. So I'm teaching, I'm coaching, I'm mentoring, and then he'll pull clips from that now. Yes. So I'm actually now getting paid, rather than paying to create reels, I'm getting paid to create the reels. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense.
It's just how can I multitask? How can I milk every activity for every second of its worth?
Do you find it hard to, because you said some of the things that you're giving up now are things that you actually enjoy doing. Yeah. Like, do you find it hard to work out what to give up? I'll give you, for instance, here, because, like, I said to you, I don't know if we were recording when I said this, but me going through a divorce.
Yeah.
And I recently got an opportunity maybe to go to Miami in the start of next year. I couldn't have done that if I was married. I couldn't have taken that 6 months ago. And it made you think, I need to clear space to be able to get these opportunities.
Exactly what it is.
But when you gave up something, you don't know if that's going to lead to an opportunity. That's like the real. Yeah. But you'll look back and go, I'm so glad I gave up that podcast episode because now I can do this book deal. How do you...
Because I'm so far in advance in terms of me schedule and I mean, how long did you wait to come here? Long time.
About 5-6 weeks probably.
Yeah, that's quite a long time. So my schedule is so planned out, probably 80% of my schedule is already full. So if I want to put anything above the 20%, I've got to look, okay, well, which one? And it's a guess. Because I've been doing it for so long, mate, I've got an educated guess now. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
I know that, let's just say I know that I love doing stand-up comedy, but I know that I'm not going to make any money from. I mean, fucking hell, I've done 2 gigs where I've turned down the money because I'm like, you guys are comedians on your way up. I don't need the money, which is nice to be able to do. Just get me more gigs, but then I'm turning down gigs. So I'm like, well, I know that's going to pay off. I enjoy doing it, but I've got limited time, limited energy. I've got 2 kids. I've got a wife. So now what it becomes, I've probably got an internal decision criteria. I've probably got a criteria for the decision. Part of it is, do I love doing it or not? Because there's loads of things that I could do to make more money. But I'm like, if I don't enjoy it, who starts a business to do shit that they hate? What's the point? Stay in a job if you're going to do that. We just get in this culture of, well, if I do loads of stuff that I hate, eventually I'll have a life that I love. Doesn't work like that. So I'm like, partly, and it's about this concept of having a goal that feels impossible. That's so impossible that there's kind of not loads of ways to get there. There's only 1 or 2 options. What people tend to have is loads of competing goals, loads of competing interests, loads of competing decisions and tasks. So I'm like, and the goal of building this 500-person cult, right? I call it that because it's a bit of an internal joke, right? But building this thing can't involve all of these things.
Yeah. That's
just, we were talking about decision fatigue before and not pissing around with decision. Excuse me. That's because of that drink. But we'll have so many competing interests, goals, distractions, opportunities that I think at some level we've probably got this internal decision criteria. Will it help me? Will it get me closer to hitting this kind of impossible goal, this seemingly impossible goal? And if it doesn't, I'm like, yeah.
When you're filtering even those out, though, you mentioned obviously like you turn down comedy gigs because it's not going to make you money.
Not really.
But there are comedians that make millions, and you went, the goal has to be impossible.
Yeah.
That seems like a fantastic impossible goal.
Is.
Why is that the one filtered out?
Well, because the goal now is to build a tribe of 500 business owners inside of me thing. Eventually, one of the goals will be to fill a fucking arena.
And I'm assuming there's a bigger why than that. Because the numbers are cool, right? It's a good ego boost to fill an arena.
Well, I made my first million in 2014. I love money. I love the choices it gives me and my family. I love the opportunities it brings about. I love travelling. But once you've did that kind of money, and I've realised this is a first world problem, so don't give me shit for I've probably worked harder than you. I'm not kidding, I've worked harder than you for longer than you, more consistently than you. That's the fucking truth, right? So, and I love money, but ultimately, once you've hit a certain amount of numbers, you're like, well, what? There's no difference a year between earning $1 million a year and $2 million a year. And I figured that out the first time I had my first 20 grand month, right? So probably 2012 or something. I went from 10 grand to 20 grand. My life was the same. I was just a bit busier. So now my mission is probably more about impact than it is about money. But don't get me wrong, I love money.
Why this field?
The comedy field.
No, in terms of making people unstoppable, coaches,
this field. I've got a lot of passion for it because I started it because I was rock bottom. I put my family through a lot of shit. What changed that for me, Simon, was I dropped the video, you'd have seen the video, the clip video, in 2016. I wasn't sure what would happen when I dropped it. There was no tactic behind it. And I realised there was a lot of men out there who were like me. And no one was speaking to them. And I suppose I stumbled into it, really. No one was speaking them. There were just people saying, you've just described me. No one's ever described it like that. And I was like, oh, shit. People started coming towards me. And I was like, there is something that fills my heart. This is weird. Not when a man comes and says, Paul, you've changed me fucking life, because I'm like, well, it was you that did that, not me. I just gave you some tools and some support and some fucking a kick in the dick every now and again. But when someone's family comes to you and says, thank you, that's the shit that fills me heart. And I like performing as well. So it's partly when it's changed. You change someone's life, you change their fucking family's life. You know what I mean? You change their family's life. Where does that go? Yeah. You have this ripple effect. You know what I mean? There's something very special in that. And again, I'll not lie about it. You get handsomely rewarded for it. I am of the opinion that the more people you help, the better you are at it, the more you get paid. Yes. Money is a direct correlation of how much value that you add to a certain marketplace. I had a lot of fucking value. That's why I get handsomely rewarded for it. People wouldn't stay if I was shit. People wouldn't keep coming back if it wasn't worth it. You know what I mean? I value what I do. I value my company. I value what we offer. I value the support. I value the knowledge. And so do other people. So that's the truth right there. But the other thing is, like I said before, I love that stuff, but I love fucking performing, mate. Like, you think about most people in my field do high-ticket coaching. They charge fucking 4 times as much as what I charge for less. But I've got nothing to hide here. I love a full room of people. I'd rather have 500 people paying less than 50 people paying more and me getting more money. Again, I love money, but I love performing. Yeah. I love energy. I love being around people. I love being around people that are excited about their future. And I love making people laugh. Do you know what I mean? Making people laugh is more addictive than the other stuff.
Yes.
That's more addictive.
I resonate with that so much. And I think for me, it's like part of the reason why I got into personal training, part of the reason why I got into public speaking, part of the reason why I got into education, part of the reason why I got into pro wrestling, is what I'm learning to be right now, which is a scary hobby, is that exact thing. I think I saw Triple H in 2000 and I was like, that's how a man should look. And that's what got me into the gym. And it wasn't actually about the physique. It was, I saw him captivate an audience as a very nerdy, bullied kid. And I went, well, he has big pecs, and that must mean he's liked. Yeah. And looking back, it's like, it's the performance.
Was he shagging Stephanie Mann at the same time?
Well,
she went through that phase of being quite hot.
I think
remember that?
Yes,
she went through a phase of being like, ooh, and then she was smoking.
Yeah. Yes, because they got together. They got together in 1999 on screen, but they only got married in like 2002. Really? So I don't whether they in that time when I started watching when they were together. I don't know. Probably. Yeah, there's probably something. This is probably when Vince didn't know about it, which is probably.
Oh, he would have known. Vince knows everything, man. He's a fucking psycho.
He knows way too much.
Ah, bloody hell.
But
so does everyone else now.
Right, that's scary. Have you seen the Netflix documentary?
Not even interested in wrestling, obviously, when I was a kid was. But that documentary, my Barbara was like, Paul, you need to watch this documentary. I was like, I'm not watching that, man. Like, my son's never even been into wrestling because he's a jiu-jitsu guy, right?
Yeah.
So he's like, I remember going to watch a wrestling thing. We had a great night. He didn't want to go. He was like, Dad, it's fake, man. And obviously it is fake, right?
I would say predetermined. I think it's
predetermined.
But every wrestling fan says.
Do you know what I mean? And we went, and he ended up having a fight with his mate. He was like 10, because his mate was like, it's real. And Max put a choke on him. He was like, is that real? He's like, I was like, well, why? How come? He was going, well, how come he's not unconscious then? But my son is so logical. Like, everything's logical. He's got no, like, there's no imagination, there's no creativity. Everything's logical. And he just knows. But we had a fucking great time. But mate, that show was amazing. I loved it. I'm trying to get my wife to watch it now. I absolutely loved it. I couldn't stop watching it.
I watched it knowing all the stories that were going to come out.
Oh, did you know most of them anyway?
Yeah, I've become a proper nerd into the backstage stuff. I probably like that more than the actual product these days.
Bro.
But I watched it and it was just interesting hearing him. Yeah. I remember he would talk about Ted Turner when he was WCW were beating him. And he was like, what I was doing was competition. What he was doing was vindictive. Like, you're doing the same stuff.
Yeah, he's just winning.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
he's just winning.
It's evil when someone else is winning.
And that's what it's like. That's what you see in my space. Like, people who've got a problem with the people who are making more money than them. That's the only people I've got a problem with.
Yes.
I never got any criticism at all in the fitness game until I started making money. Never got anyone come towards me, give me any shit until I started making money.
Do you think that's changing though with the Stitch incoming generation? Because I see this all the time now where people like, I see coaches are terrified to put out content because they're worried someone's going to criticise them about their bicep curl or their chest press, and someone's got more followers who's maybe originally started knocking down big players, but now has gone, I've run out of content, I need to attack this little guy. Like, no one was like, I lost 20
video.
I never lost 20 kilos, then I did a bicep curl wrong and then I gained it all back. Like, it's never happened. Like, what do you think of the fitness space at the moment? I know you're sort of half in, half out.
I'm not really in it. I've got no interest in it, to be fair. Has it changed? Yes. I think people have gotten a little bit, I'm not going to say lazy. I think the problem with the fitness space, do you mean the fitness business space? The fitness, the fitness in general space. I mean, I wouldn't say I've got a massive interest in it. I think everything's about extremes. Probably always has been. But anyone that grows a following is because they're saying something extreme. Yes. Anything that makes a viral video is because they're saying something extreme. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're saying something controversial and they're saying something that's so far out there that it can't help but get hate or love. They've got to say something that's right. They've got to say something that's ridiculous. And part of me doesn't even know whether they believe it or not. You get someone like fucking Liver King. He's saying all that bullshit and then he's obviously taking steroids and then he's lost his mind, by the way. Have you seen him recently?
No.
Mate, he's lost the fucking plot.
I need to see this.
He's saying, my son, he's 13, sent me a video of him and he was just talking absolute gobbledygook. Like, it was like he was on a mushroom trip while he was doing it. He's definitely done some kind of ayahuasca. He's definitely done hallucinogens.
That's way better.
Yes, it is. But he's saying stuff and he was already fucking stupid. Right? And part of him was stupid. Like, obviously he's not stupid, he's a millionaire, right? There's part of him, he can't. He's like these guys off Towie and Geordie Shore, and everyone's like, they're idiots, them. I'm like, well, they're millionaires. I've got two mates that did Geordie Shore, both millionaires. Like, how can you be stupid?
Yeah.
You can't. You might portray stupid, but now I'm like, what's he talking about? So the fitness space, the whole thing is about how extreme you can be.
Yes.
Mate, it's the same now when you're raising money for charity. You've got to do the most extreme thing. You can't just run a half marathon and raise money for charity anymore. You've got to run 7 in 7 days. You've got to run across you've got to run the orbit of the Earth. Like, you know what I mean? You've got to run but it's just about anything that's viral is because it's something fucking extreme. Full stop.
Do you think the word misinformation then is actually not as bad as people claim it to be? Because I hate the word, because I think a lot of people that claim misinformation don't know the information to put a misinformation.
Well, they just don't agree with what someone else is saying.
Exactly that.
That's all it is.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like when you think about the concept of haters, I'm like, are they really haters, or they just don't agree with what you're saying? Do you know what I mean? Like, so that's all I know. The fitness business space, no fucking idea either. It's not when people say like, who do you follow and who inspire? I'm like, I'm creating. I'm not a consumer really.
Look, so where would you say? Because I followed your work for probably close to 10 years, right?
See, in 10 years, you'll see me from fucking fat rock bottom to what we're doing now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we've gone through, like, your first business to coaching to fitness products to business products to men's health products to...
Yes, so what I'm doing.
Talk about the bipolar a lot more. And
yes.
So, what would you consider yourself? I suppose it's close to a life coach, but I don't know how... You're your own little... unique bubble in itself.
Your unique little niche.
Yeah, so what's your
I wouldn't even call it men. People like, there's this new term called men's work now.
Yeah.
Like, people like, do you do men's work? I'm like, well, kind of. So my elevator pitches, I work with married.
Quite dodgy.
It does, it just sounds like a circle one. Everyone just wanks each other off and talks about breath work.
But no one hears you screaming.
So my work, I would say, here's what I like to say instead. I'm like, I work with married businessmen who need to get their shit together. That's it. Mostly, and again, people, do you only work with married businessmen? I'm like, no. That's just who I'm best at teaching. Because part of me is a coach, which means that when I'm coaching, I'm not giving advice. But then I'm like, I also have this steadfast rule is I never give advice on something that I don't have first-hand experience of. And I've never been a woman. And I haven't had a job for 24 years. So I'm not going to give you advice on those things. I'm terrible. Paul, I'm looking to start a side hustle. What should I do? I'm like, I don't know. I've never had a side hustle. Yeah. I mean, I kind of have the hotels a side hustle. They're not really side hustles, so it's all part of being self-employed. But I've never had a job and try to start a business at the same time. I'm the guy that's burning the fucking boats. My wife panics every time I come up with it. I've got an idea. She's like, fuck. Because she's like, are you going to burn this entire thing to the ground? I'm like, kind of. Mate, last year I shut a program down that did 400 grand a year. I just shut it.
I think most of the emails I've received from you are, I'm shutting down this product.
I am. It's just things evolve. Things naturally evolve. And I get bored very easily. That's the whole fucking mental ADHD shit part of me. But actually, it makes me evolve. I hate being stagnant. I get bored and I'm a problem. Like, I am a problem being bored. I've got to be stimulated. I love being stimulated. I love a new challenge. That's probably why I'm doing this. People are like, why are you doing the stand-up? My wife doesn't get it. She won't come. She's convinced that I'm going to get cancelled. But yeah, and the thing is though, mate...
Isn't that a challenge though?
It is a challenge. How bad can I go? Put it this way, mate. I had a 70-year-old magistrate on Wednesday night who admitted in front of his 71-year-old wife and his 35-year-old daughter that he wanks in the shower. That's how the stand-up goes. But even then, I think about it, I'm like, you know what? When I do a lot of public speaking, when I'm on the stage, it doesn't matter where I am, there's no filter anyway. The comedy just allows you to cross. There's a different line.
Yeah.
It's almost like I have this alter ego. There's motivational Morty and there's dirty Uncle Morty. Dirty Uncle Morty's kind of talk. He's filth. He's muck. He's talking. He's telling nonce jokes.
You can chop some of your worst opinions in and
go,
it wasn't me.
That's exactly what it is. It wasn't me. I didn't say that. You're looking at me like I said it. I've already told you that it was Dirty Uncle Morty. That's my alter ego. But yeah, it's I can't remember what the question was. My work. But I suppose we do everything. But it's more about the people who I work with than how I do it.
Do you think you mentioned...
Because that'll change.
Yeah.
The vehicle's different.
Do you think you said stumbled into it earlier on?
Yes.
Because of your story? And again, if there's ever a...
That's happened with every business I've ever had.
If there's ever a sort of argument for hard work meets opportunity, it's you. But you mentioned Garrett J. White in is the person that helped you in your through our time. And
Garrett woke me the fuck up.
Do you think, and I don't know your faith, but do you think the fact that you don't, and the fact that I don't know your faith, is the reason why you've been so successful in this space? Because, and this is the first big opening for me, right? I've been battling...
I've this before, I can't wait.
Yeah, I've been battling, kind of a porn addiction this year, which led to the end of my marriage. And one of the difficult things that I found trying to get help from this, it's always find your higher power. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I don't have a fucking higher power. And this is why things that I see people in Sex and Addicts Anonymous
meetings.
English,
bro. It's because you're English.
But I go to like SLA meetings, and they're like, and they've got this sort of like, they're all getting this help, and I'm just like, this sucks. And do you feel like you cater to that niche of people that are struggling with, not necessarily porn, but any sort of addiction, and they're not getting the help because all the help is, I need Jesus. And Garrett, and as good as he is,
Garrett's turning down
the
that.
Same.
It wasn't like that when I was in there.
Okay.
It was very different then. He's just changed his niche.
Okay, interesting.
Married business, men that are Christians also.
Yes.
It's not my vibe at all. Now, and I remember, I learned this in 2020, right? So I've done a lot of work with Dr. John DeMartini. He's fucking amazing, John. Great crack as well. He doesn't come across as great crack online, but his banter is sensational. But you don't see it unless you're in something. But you know when you're around someone, he's got this persona. It's not even a persona. He's just posting clips on the internet. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't get but he's fucking hilarious, mate, and filthy. By the way,
this is what I love about podcasts when you learn this.
I love talking about shagging. And then he'll go like, do you know what it is? The people that talk about the most get the least. He said, and that's true. So he's talking about it all the time. Anyway, so Dr. John said to me, and this was on his course to Breakthrough Experience in 2020, right before lockdown in Dublin. He said to me, Paul, would you consider yourself spiritual? I'm like, no. He said, well, do you know what spirituality means? I'm like, no. He said, you're on a mission. That's your spirituality there. He said, you're a man who's on a mission. If you have a mission, he calls it the talus or something. It's not my whole thing, that, right? But he's like, if you're talus or something, he calls it. It's like this North Star.
Yeah.
So you've got a North Star in mind. He said, you're spiritual as fuck. And this is what I work with men. What they all have in common is they've lost a sense of purpose. That's all I think that higher power is, a sense of purpose. And that can be a goal that's short term. It can be a longer term vision. Essentially, me, in terms of a higher power, what I believe is the thing that you're moving towards. Most men are moving away from something. They're constantly trying to move away from pain, move away from stress, move away from struggle, move away from frustration, move away from unpleasant feelings. So they're sedating and self-soothing, right? But once you start to get that sense of, that's all it is. It's not the thing that you were born to do, in my opinion. It gives you a sense of purpose. And for me, that's a compelling vision of your future that inspires you to do something to move towards it. I have that. That's what I work on every single day. That's the shit that, can you see how I started talking faster? I start talking faster because I value that. If we all need something to move towards, a North Star that guides us, that gives us directions. People are lost because they're not lost. They don't know where they're going because they've got no destination in mind. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's just what they want. So they get up every day and they're tuning into the opening up the app, which is the sat nav of life, and they're just putting in as the destination, not here. So what happens is, because there's no destination around, they just go around in fucking circles and end up where they started, home, because there's no... Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
For me, that's the higher power.
Yeah.
Everyone that I work with, I'm like, if we can tap into your sense of purpose, that energizes you, that inspires you and scares you a little bit and impacts other people, right? That's your thing. For me, Dr. John was like, that's your spirituality right there. That's everyone's spirituality, is a belief in something. That's all it is. A belief in something. A belief in... you say a higher power is the same as a higher purpose. That is something that is about more than just you. It's bigger than you.
Yeah.
You benefit from it, obviously, right? Because everything that we do self-serving, right? You benefit from it, but it's just a belief.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never thought I'd be answering that question today, by the way. But I'm passionate about that because I think people get the wrong idea of what it is.
Yes.
I'm still trying to find the thing I was born to do. I'm like, well, guess what? It'll change. It'll change. I have got no doubt that I'm not going to be spending 8 hours a week on fucking Zoom in 5 years. I may be filling arenas. Who fucking knows? I may change my mind on that. I'm okay with changing my mind. I think
5 hotels.
I might actually go to one of them. But it's like, do you know, it's like people think this is like a finish line. I'm like, I believe that my mission, my purpose is like the horizon. It's going to keep moving away from me. And I've accepted that. So I love the chase. I fall in love with the journey now. If it goes wrong, great. That's love. It's not all positive. It's not a one-sided thing. So if I get excited about that and I've accepted that, it's like the horizon is going to keep moving. I'm like, well, let's fucking go anyway.
Yeah.
But what's on the horizon, the vision of the horizon might change, and I'm okay with that as well.
Yeah.
You've got to fall in love with the chase, right? All the best shaggers that I knew when I was younger, right? All the best shaggers weren't the ones that gave up after talking to one woman. They enjoyed the chase more than the shagging. Yeah. They were almost disappointed when a woman said, yeah, let's go. They enjoyed the chase.
They were the ones that circle back to the original.
They just love it. They love the chase. And I say to my guys when they're trying to build a business, a lot of guys, they hate the marketing bit of it. But you have to fall in love with that. You have to fall in love with the marketing and just see the whole thing as a game. The whole thing is a game. So you fall in love with it. It's probably why I was saying to you before, I don't particularly like weight training. I find it boring. But if I did want to fall in love with it, it would be about, okay, well, I don't even track the weights I'm lifting. I'm not fucking interested. But if I did, I'd be like, okay, well, track the numbers. Where am I going? People that go to the gym for the sake of going to the gym never get anywhere. So they end up not liking going to the gym. Anyone that's in love with the gym tracks the numbers. They track the score. They keep score so they know whether they're winning or not. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Whereas jiu-jitsu is my thing. There's so much variety in it. You can feel improvement. Sometimes you get humbled. That's me. I don't need motivator to go to jiu-jitsu. I need to be told not to go. Paul, me PT's like, Paul, please don't train tonight. You're fucked. Your resting heart rate's fucking through the roof. Your fucking HRV's right down. You've struggled here. Do not go to jiu-jitsu tonight. I'm like, oh. You know what I mean? So I'm in love with the journey of jiu-jitsu. Whether I win or not, it don't matter. So you've got to, that's the thing for me.
Yeah. I think that filters down into everything, though. I tell my students the same thing. You see it, and you probably would have seen it too when you're in the personal training space. Coaches are really good at helping clients lose the first 5 kilos, suck at helping them lose the last 5. Yeah. And it's because we naturally move away from pain. Yeah. Every time they look in the mirror and they go, I hate how I look, or I look down the shower and I can't see my penis.
Easy.
The coach doesn't need to do the accountability. No. They're doing it themselves. Yeah. That last 5 is the bit that's hard because you need to pull them towards the future.
You know what? This actually happens in selling as well. So we get to this point. I'm going to call this. There's a place that I call like the motivational pocket, or in sales it's called the selling pocket. So on one side of the selling pocket, you've got like, oh, I don't need it. I don't deserve it. I don't think I can do it. I can't do it. I've tried so many times. Then on the other side, you've got, well, I don't need you. I don't need you. But we also get to the point as humans where we're like, I don't need to do it now. I've made this money. I don't need to market anymore. I'm full with clients. I don't need to market anymore. So they need to see, at that point, they've got to see the cost of inaction. What happens if I don't do it? So when we first start, it's like, okay, what happens if I do it? We get excited about the end goal, moving away from pain. So what happens if I do it? And then there's always a point where you're like, oh, I don't need to do this workout now. I've lost the 5. I don't need to do it. I don't need to track my macros anymore. I don't need to put that post out anymore. I'm doing okay. You know what I mean? So I've got to just keep showing people, what's the cost of inaction? What's the cost of inaction? The cost of inaction.
Like I've learned that. I'm still not perfect because I always do my marketing and not getting complacent.
Yeah.
But I'm better because I went through the drop-offs and realised it's not what I'm doing now. It's what I wasn't doing 3 months ago.
Correct.
It's like the reverse diet.
The lag effect.
Yeah, it's the reverse diet. Like I see coaches all the time that say to me like, "Am I a bad coach because my client get fat?" No, this is probably a valuable part of the journey. It's them getting fat, which means next time they'll go, I should have listened to you the first time. Like, do you think there is that element of like, and as a coach,
I do.
Where do you fall? Certainly when you're helping people, it's like letting people make their own mistakes. Whilst also your job is to help them avoid making mistakes. Yeah. Where's that balance?
So the way that we work is it depends on whether, if someone's working me one-to-one, there's obviously way more coaching, way more support, way more accountability. But actually, the way that I work, mate, I'm big on journaling. So I mainly keep people accountable to journaling, which is essentially planning, setting targets, setting priorities, and then measuring backwards. So aiming forwards, measuring backwards.
But when you do that, you off on that point because I know how you journal.
I'm huge on it
because of Rob.
Yeah.
But you do journaling differently to how journaling's normally done,
Very
right?
Different.
So like, what do people get wrong with journaling? As you're going into that, I think it's a good question to ask.
They write about feelings. It's a diary.
Yeah.
That's not so what we do is called prompted journaling. So I learned from a coach of mine, Peter Sage, back in the day. He was like, Paul, questions are the steering wheel of the mind. If we realise that what we add attention to, we add momentum to. Where we place our attention is where we place our energy. What we focus on, we get more of. What we focus on, we feel, right? So Tony Robbins back in the day, fucking hell, this must have been 2003. I learned something from him, which is, you focus on how you feel, but that focus is controlled by the questions you ask yourself, right? And often, our brain is so lazy that you've answered a question before you don't even know what it is. Why am I focused on this? Because you've answered a question before you even knew what it was, right? So we do prompted journaling, which is basically asking questions that steer us, right? Steering wheel of the mind towards empowerment, towards excitement, towards purpose, towards what's working, right? So we call this blissipline. So blissipline is having the discipline to focus only on shit that makes you feel good, right? Which is what you want, not what you don't want, what you want, how you want to feel, how you want to behave, what you want to achieve, who you want to impact, and what's working, what you're achieving, what you got done, where you're winning, who you impacted that day, what you appreciated about the day, what you're grateful for that happened today. What else have I got? What thing are you most proud of? What moved towards your goal? So that's all journaling is. It's a tool to steer your mind towards this concept of blissipline. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all we're doing. That's all we're doing. It's not. There's not. because listen, you've got to consider your focus and your attention has to be somewhere. You have to be thinking about something, right? And the problem is because your brain's primary job is to keep you safe. It's naturally geared towards negative thinking. Naturally geared towards negative thinking. So it's naturally geared to focus on what you don't want, what you hope doesn't happen, how you don't want to feel, right? So your attention it's either going to be on what you want or what you don't want. Who might upset you that day? Who might criticize you versus who you can impact, right? And then on the other side of that, your brain will naturally be focused on what you didn't get done, what you failed at, what didn't work. There's nothing wrong with those questions, but if you don't interrupt that, we would call it a pattern interrupt, or we don't get in the way of that, we don't kind of fucking halt that, then it's naturally just going to keep going on what you don't want, what didn't work, what you don't like about yourself, the worst parts of yourself, the lift that you didn't make, the submission that you got hit with, not the one that you did. Do you know what I mean? So
I suppose that those questions are so different if you don't have that guiding star, if you don't have that direction.
Yeah.
Because if I've missed something or I didn't do something, I can either feel down about myself or it's feedback in order to help me find that.
One of the questions is this, and this goes off what I'm saying. But it doesn't mean you shouldn't pay any attention to what's not working. Because if you don't pay attention to what's not working, guess what? You'll keep doing it. If you don't, for me, there's nothing wrong with failing, but there is something wrong with not knowing why you failed. Because then you'll keep doing it. It's the same as, it's great that you hit a goal, but if you don't know how you hit it, then you can't repeat it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So one of the questions that we ask is, what's one thing you could have handled better today? Right? What's one thing you could have handled better? Not one thing you failed at, what's one thing you could have handled better? But then there's a follow-up question. How will you handle it better next time? Because it's going to pop up again. So it's actually just about you win or you learn, right? That whole cheesy shit. But actually, it's such a great question, that, because it's like setting an alarm clock. Setting an alarm clock. If this happens again, oh shit, I wrote that down yesterday. This happens again, here's what I'm going to do. That's it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So the journaling thing, mate, people say, what's the number one thing you change your life? I'm like, journaling. Here's why. It takes no effort. It's not inconvenient. It's easy. It's simple. It's once you paid for the world's most expensive journal, it's free. It takes a pen and a fucking piece of paper. If you can't be asked to pick up a pen and piece of paper, you've got no fucking right to say, I want to change. Fuck off. Do you know what I mean? And when my guy's like, oh, I didn't journal this month, what were you doing instead? Guess what they're doing instead? Looking at that fucking phone. That's the truth. Show me your screen time. And they're looking at the phone, because that's what we do in the morning. I think the stats are something like 83% of people, might be 73, the first thing they do in the morning is check the phone. And it's hard not to do that, because you want an instant dopamine rush in the morning. So I'm like, am I not better get me dopamine rush with discipline? What do I want? What do I want to achieve? Who do I want to impact? It's my favourite question, that. What am I most excited about today? Guess what happens? As soon as my brain starts looking for references about what I'm excited about today, it starts to get excited. I start to create a feeling on fucking demand. You know what I mean? And excitement for me is fucking intoxicating.
I suppose there's like when someone, let's say, joins Unstoppable, and there's that first...
Oh, it's all as fuck. Women are straight into it. Yeah. Men are like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, and I bet they like...
I've never written for 20 years.
Yeah, the hand cramps up straight away. It's like, I wank 3 times a day and I don't get this, but holding a pen, that's just too much.
Well, yeah, it's like holding a tiny little micro penis.
Well, why never cramp up when I'm but like from that, it's like, how do you get people over that hump? Because I bet when they experience that first, oh my God, I'm starting to get into this.
Honestly, answer these fucking questions. That's it. I wouldn't even like to call it journaling.
Yeah.
So on the front of the planner, they often see the word planner. Sometimes use the word planner.
Yeah, okay.
So it's just a little reframe, because the word's been bastardized a little bit. It's like the word meditation's been bastardized a little bit. Okay. What I do love about what we're calling meditation now is Huberman came in with his whole non-sleep deep rest. Yeah. He's NSDR. Yeah. Like, that's the same as meditation, and it's the same as napping. Yeah. So now we're reframing it as that. Did you get your non-sleep deep rest in today? Yeah. It's beautiful. So journaling almost needs a new name. I might just answer the questions. That's all it is, answering questions. Because again, you saying the journaling thing, it feels like Dear Diary. To write down how I'm feeling today. And my memory of that was fucking when I was rock bottom, the amount of fucking ists that I saw, every ist going, that were like, oh, have you tried keeping a mood diary? I'm like, what? So I can remind myself of how fucking shit I feel all the time. How do you feel today? Shit. How do you feel this afternoon? Worse. How do you feel today? Shit. Like, what's the point in putting me attention on what I don't want and how I don't want to feel?
Do you think the problem with men's mental health is that men don't talk enough?
I don't think it's the reason why men are depressed.
Why do you think that is?
I don't think that men are depressed because they don't talk enough. Because talking doesn't cook fucking rice, mate. I don't even know who said that. I think it was Bruce Lee. Yeah. I think talking can help. I think talking can make you realise that you're not on your own. But if your habits don't change, your thoughts don't change, the talking was fucking pointless. The amount of people that you think about it, how many times have you promised someone that you do something and never did it? The talking did fuck all. Sometimes it can feel like a weight off your chest, but what are you even saying?
I think it's a cop-out sentence. You know, when like people go, it's...
Not talking is not the reason why you're depressed, so how is it the thing that's going to fix everything?
It's like not to... I think it was Chris Williamson's podcast that was talking about this, like, but it's... No, I think it was the Tin Men. I don't know if I quote it properly, but like the problem, it seems like a cop-out talking. It's sort of like if women have a struggle, we change society. If men have a struggle, they need to change themselves. Men don't go to the doctors enough. Men don't talk enough. And I was like, well, the problem I find, should men talk more? Sure. And I know from this year, in going, there was a point in this year where the business had a big drop-off. My wife had just walked out. I was struggling to pay rent because I now have double the rent.
Let's go, come on.
And all these things were like battering me. And I'm a naturally talkative person, as you've probably already gathered. I will talk about my problems. I'm not that struggle. But in that point, I'm just trying to keep my head above water. I'm not thinking about talking. I'm just thinking about surviving. And
talk all you need to have is on the fucking phone to close some deals, bro.
Yes, and ironically, that was the thing that slowly got me out of it. But in that moment in time, I thankfully have done a lot of the self-work before having that time where I was self-aware enough to know I wouldn't do anything stupid. But I in that time, I couldn't have taught, and I understood for the first time why people do. And I also realised, if I could come out the other side without doing something dumb, it would have been a forgotten time. Which means so many men go through these and don't get the help they need. And I don't think the responsibility should lie just on the people that are struggling, but that community of people outside of them to actually go and check in. And actually go, how many people when you're going through a hard time go, if you ever need to talk, I'm here. And maybe once they'll lay out to talk.
What do you even say?
The third or fourth time, they're not listening.
What do you even
anymore.
say?
Yeah.
What do you even say? Like, people like talk about what? What do I say?
Yeah.
How are they going to react? How do I know I'm going to get their actual support? How do I know that they're going to tell me to man up? How do I know they're not going to mollycoddle me? Also, when you talk, what do you talk about? The past. Do you know the past that you can't change? Now, I haven't got a problem with talking about the past. I'm actually doing some work on it right now with a guy called Vinny Showman. He's a performance, he's a fighting performance guy. So the mindset around fighting, because I love fighting, but every time I've been in a competition with loads of people watching, I freeze. So I'm competing in the Brits at the end of next month. Well, up to now I am, but I've been sick for ages. So
for a man that loves public speaking and doesn't freeze in these moments,
I can't top me without a fight, can I? You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
And I don't freeze when I'm fighting in a gym when no one's watching. So we're going through this talk now where we're talking about some things but what we're trying to do is, the reason we're talking about the past is we're trying to reframe it. We're trying to be like, okay, that happened and it's good because. So it's actually about taking a lesson and reframing it, not as bad, not as negative, but actually, do you know what? I'm so glad that happened. I've done that with work on public speaking. Like, I realised people like, Paul, you love being the centre of attention, like it's a bad thing. I'm like, well, there's some things that happened in my past with parents and people telling me they're ashamed of me and that I'll never do this and I'm the class clown and that. I'm like, well, I'm glad that all happened because I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. If I was given more attention as a kid, there's no way I'd love being on the stage. I wouldn't feel the need to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Do you think that's why you became funny?
Fucking right, aye. It is. Making people laugh. I'd have probably realised, if I'd have done the work sooner, I'd have probably realised, actually, I did love making people laugh at school. But if I'd had different guides I'm glad I did and it's fine. But part of me's thinking, do you know what, if I had different guides when I was 17, 18, and I didn't get pushed into this fucking job that I didn't want to do, I didn't have any other prospects, right? But if society was like it is, if I had me as a parent, and my school teachers, my kids' school teachers are saying he just wants to make the class laugh, I'll be like, all right, let's put him in comedy classes then. Let's get him on the fucking stage, he's a funny cunt. You know what I mean? Do you know, it's different now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Back then it was like, get a trade.
Yeah.
Now I'd be like, son, let's get you in comedy club. He'll never do that, by the way, because he's quiet, right? But I'm like, you would do that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You would do that. Now it's different. So part of me is like, well, if I had different support when I was a kid, that would have happened, but it didn't. So we're here now. But yeah, the talking thing, I think, can be a cop-out. I think it can be very useful. Depends who you're talking to and what feedback you're going to get. And the reality is, whether you fucking do anything different or not, you can talk all you want. I remember watching a show, maybe 2021, maybe even before that. It was called Harry's Heroes. So all these footballers, Harry Redknapp, Paul Merson, all these guys that had problems with drink, right? They had all these talks about how drinking ruined their life, and how they were this, and how they were that, and how their mental health's been bad. And then they went out on the sesh. I'm like, what the fuck was the point in all that talking? You've just done the exact same fucking thing. So I'm all for talking if it changes your actions. But again, you can't fucking, talking doesn't cook rice. Cooking rice cooks rice. So if you don't, you can talk all you fucking want, but talk's cheap, innit? Talk is cheap, motherfucker. What's that off?
I don't know.
I don't know. You've heard it before, though,
yeah,
haven't you?
of course
Talk.
I have, yeah.
Oh, it's DMX.
Okay.
DMX is the DMX track. Talk is cheap, motherfucker.
Yeah, I'm too much of a heavy
and then
metal
there's a machine gun noise comes out.
yeah, far too much heavy metal for that. That's my. If you give me a Linkin Park quote, I'm all over it, right? If you give me
I heard Linkin Park were on at Leeds Festival next year.
Oh, I need to go. I missed out on the tickets. I was in the queue for 3 hours, got to point one in the queue, and then it crashed.
Really?
And I'm just like, son of a bitch. You know, like, she's amazing, by the way. Have you listened to the new stuff?
No.
Mate, it's
really
ace. Like, it's enough different to not be like Chester, but she's got enough of the screamo to kind of go,
really?
Oh, this is Linkin Park.
That's interesting.
Unbelievable.
I didn't even know they had a woman. No, that's
yeah.
It's not my genre.
And a former Scientologist, which was made which has made this all go crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that must have blew it up. Yeah. Shit, that's got people talking for you.
Well, especially
Isn't it mad that I didn't even know that.
Especially for people that are so like into Chester that they're like, one, they don't like it because of a woman. Don't like they did replace them in the first place, and now it's like, well, Scientology. You shouldn't have hired them. Like, I don't care what a religion is. Can she sing?
Everyone's talking about it.
Yeah, well, I think it's died down now with the.
That shows you how much much I know about popular culture. I've got no fucking idea. I'm still listening to fucking Little Mix and that, man. Little Mix and fucking the Saturdays and that. Craig David.
Which means you kept up for a period of time and then decided to stop. In my opinion, one of the worst eras of music. This is where I'm going to park myself. I'm good here.
My taste of music's mental, man. Tell you what I do like that at Discord recently. Actually, at the Leeds Festival, I saw a band called Imagine Dragons.
Oh, babe.
Holy shit. We went because Billie Eilish was on. Lewis Capaldi was meant to be on. Sam Fender was on. And the Killers were on. What a lineup, by the way.
Lineup, yeah.
That was... Capaldi pulled out, so... Because obviously he's going through some shit that I could help him with.
Shout out, by the way, if Lewis Capaldi happens to listen to this.
Not talking. Doing the fucking work. But yeah, it's that was amazing. There was a band on while Billie Eilish was on. It was a bit busy for me. My daughter loves Billie Eilish. So me and my son, I said, let's go and watch this band. We'd heard one of their songs, You Make Me a Believer. So let's go and watch them. And they blew me away. So we're going to see that. They're on at Tottenham in July next year. So we're going to go and see them at Tottenham Stadium. They were I was blown away. And the guy's story's interesting. And yeah, that lead singer's fucking some cat. Yeah.
Yes,
anyway.
Yeah. And so varied as music as well.
Yes. Yeah.
So like, you obviously mentioned the guys there going from talking about their drink and drugs addictions to going out and doing that.
Yeah.
So, and obviously from someone that's been in the dark place and mentioned a bunch of addictions, that's an easier said than done thing though, like doing that, because it's a compulsion, right?
Yeah.
So like, if someone is in that position, whether it's a whole, like you were in 2014 in that sense, or whether it is a addiction and they just can't get over it, how do you stop? Because your body is working against you here, right?
It is. You got to think about it. This is not my belief. This is something I heard Joe Dispenza say, not me. It's like Dirty Young Morty all over again. Joe Dispenza said that an addiction is something that you think you can't stop. Right, well, that makes sense. If something that you think you can't stop, you can stop it. How do I know that? Because fucking millions of people have. A lot of people haven't, but it's the ones that believe they can't that are going to struggle the most, right? So I believe, so my approach is this, right? Number one, you got to create leverage. You got to create as much leverage as you can. Who else suffers if you don't fucking get this handled? And you got to keep this leverage at the front of your mind. Who else suffers? What's the payoffs? What's the drawbacks? All of that. And then I believe that actually you have to change your environment. Like, this is why I believe, this is going to sound harsh, a lot of these men's mental health groups, and even, I've never been in AA, but I know a lot of people that have, you're just reminding yourself of something that you're trying to forget. Yeah. You're reminding yourself of something that you're trying to forget over and over again. You're putting yourself in an environment that's reminding you of the thing you're trying to forget. You've just been remembering who you were, remembering all of this stuff, whereas actually what you need to remember is your future, not your past. You know what I mean? You need to remember your future. So I think you need to change your environment. The third piece is I think you actually need to replace the habit. So you think about this, a lot of guys are, what are you going to do at the weekend instead of drinking? Well, I'm just going to stay in. It's not going to work, mate. What you're looking for is a buzz. What you're looking for is something to replace the habit. You're looking for something, because all addictions, you're doing something that makes you feel better. That's it. No such thing as self-sabotage, right? You want to feel better in the moment. So I'm like, you have to find something that gives you a similar feeling, a similar buzz, whatever that is for you. Otherwise, all you'll do is sit and think of the thing that you can't do. People, I'm going to go to the gym instead. I'm like, you're not. It's too inconvenient. It's too hard. It takes too much time. It's too expensive. Because most addictions are cheap. The cheap addictions that are convenient as fuck. I don't think there was. I reckon gambling addiction went up as soon as you could start gambling online. I'm not saying there wasn't any gambling addictions, but gambling online is easy. It's not even real money. It's numbers on a screen.
How many people were addicted to porn when you had to find a magazine in the woods?
My wife doesn't think that's a thing. She's like, that's a thing. I was like, hey, it was a thing, I found one a couple of months ago. I was looking through my folder reel, and I found one. I saw a porn mag in the bushes. Yeah, porn mag in the bushes. I was like, wow, I felt like fucking Marty McFly.
That is someone with a porn addiction that's trying every angle to give up, right? I'm going old school.
Ran out of credit on the phone. Yeah, I bet that a big bush of pubes as well. Yeah, it's but yeah, I think that changed everything. But anyone that I've worked with that struggles, and I'm not the addiction guy, but I've worked with a lot of people that have. I wouldn't say that's in my area of expertise. Yeah. But I've worked with a lot of people that have been addicted. I mean, I've got a guy in my program that I've got a couple of guys that were addicted to gambling. They've fucking nailed that. But they've had to create leverage, and they've had to replace the habit.
I agree with you so much about the sort of like the AA sort of meetings. I mentioned Sex and Love Anonymous earlier on, and it's a great organisation. It's an opportunity for people to,
and it clearly works at some level.
Yes, and it's a place that's free/cheap to go and have an outlet. Yeah. But most people, you're right, come after a breakdown. Yeah. No one turns up to Alcoholics Anonymous because they had a big Saturday night and thought, maybe this is a wise idea. Yeah. Normally, they've lost a job, or the wife's left them, or the illness has hit them. So going in and talking about all those reasons, you're already coming in feeling like a failure. Yeah. I went into Sex and Love Addicts Anonymous after my wife left me and after finding my pornography habits. Yeah. I don't want to be reminded every single time of, I already feel like a dickhead. Yeah. And now you're basically saying, well, let's talk about why you were doing it.
It makes you want to think about it.
Yes.
It makes you think about I'm trying to forget it. I don't want it in my mind.
And for me, it became so far away from the actual acts of arousal. It's more stress relief. You've taken away the person that removed my stress. Yeah. You've created more stress in my life. Yeah. And now I've got to go and talk about it. I'm like, this is a double whammy to make this worse, not better. And going into doing stuff in the business, but also going in, becoming to learn to be a pro wrestler. Yeah. Same time slot.
You haven't got room.
Yeah.
You got to think about that. You got to create a brain and a mind and an intellect where you don't have room to think about the thing.
Yeah.
This is one of the first things I learned about anxiety when I cured anxiety for myself, and it has popped up again twice this year. Little panics have popped up for me, and both times have been when I've been bored and I haven't had my intellectual capacity taken up. And one of the first things I learned is 2016. From a guy called Charles Linden, world's leading authority on anxiety, is amazing, is that you've got to stop talking about it. He said, because every time you talk about what happens, do you feel more anxious or less anxious? Feel more anxious. You're bringing up a picture in your mind, because you're talking about that means you're creating references, and it's the reference that's creating the anxiety. Think about every time you've talked about something that upsets you, you get upset. Every time you talk about something that excites you, you get excited. Every time you talk about something or think about anxiety, you get anxious. So why would you keep bringing it up? Doesn't make sense to me. Unless you've learned from it, you've got to. And again, you talk about something, you think about something. The stronger the emotion, you know what I mean. Something that's had an emotion for you, bring it up, and you're like, "Oh fuck, that's up again." Like for me, you fucking let it go. How can you let it go if you keep talking about it?
It's like everyone's self-diagnosing with ADHD these days. Is it rising? Maybe. I can make an argument with the phone use and the dopamine curve that more people are experiencing ADHD-like symptoms. But I think a lot of people are just trying to. They've got an undesirable reflection in the mirror, and they're trying to create an excuse for why.
We like a label, we like a crutch, again, I did a podcast with an ADHD expert, came the other week, and we had a great discussion about it, because I was diagnosed in 2012. I didn't even know it was a thing in 2012. I got diagnosed it. Now, the challenge was that they quickly moved me from being ADHD to bipolar. I was misdiagnosed. I had a conversation with my doctor friend about it recently. He was like, well, if you're not taking meds, you've been misdiagnosed. And I'm convinced that it's ADHD. High energy, all of the time, right? And again, I have mastered it. I would say I've mastered it because I also believe that I only have attention deficit disorder around things, topics, subjects, tasks that I have no interest in. Funny that, isn't it? But then there's things that I have attention surplus disorder in. Anything to do with football, anything to do with personal development, anything to do with jiu-jitsu, many things to do with business. I get obsessed with them. So I think about them a lot. I talk about them a lot. I'd start a conversation on football even if you don't like football. Not interested. I'm so passionate about it that I get attention. I can't stop thinking about it and talking about it and reading about it. I can retain ridiculous amounts of information on it because I have attention surplus disorder. Ask me about maths, no clue. Yeah. Ask me about something I'm not interested in and try and get me to pay attention to something, I'm out.
Exactly, because my wrestling has kept coming up 3 or 4 times. This is my equivalent.
There you go. That's what I mean. You value it very highly. I learned that from Dr. John. So we had this interesting conversation that she said something that was amazing. It wasn't a label. It was something that it was just understanding. Oh, okay, that's why I'm that way, and it's not bad. You just realise, oh shit, that's why I'm like that. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm not broken. I've just got this. But again, I think you're right. It can become a crutch.
It's a balancing act, though, isn't it? Like I remember when I did a call with, when I had on this podcast, I had Kieran from TMP, and I mentioned me having an adult diagnosis of ADHD, and the first thing was congratulations.
No.
I thought I love that because it's a set of tools that allows you, like, I was now focusing, like talking about anxiety, addictions, illness, and mental health.
I don't want to reaffirm it all the time.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the struggles I'm facing. I'm not talking about the attention deficit issues that I struggle with. I spend more time talking about the hyper-focus, right? How can I systemize my strengths so I can spend more time doing that stuff that I'm really good at? And how can I get someone else or outsource or systemize?
I delegate
a team, right?
I delegate or delete it.
Yes.
And again, I've talked about money before. I could make way more money. I'd make me way more profit not having as big a team. It's not stressful to me having a team because they do all the shit that I hate. They do all the shit that I have no interest in. They do all the shit that I wouldn't be able to concentrate on. They do all the shit where I'd have a deficit. Probably.
But like you might, but also the reason why you potentially make as much money as you do is because you're free to do the things you do a lot more than you're doing now.
Yes.
Like,
and it just happens most of the things that I do are the things that get me handsomely rewarded.
Yes.
The talking.
On that note, because this thing, again, that from a man that's gone through big confidence knocks to someone that comes across pretty confident as a whole, right? Another big buzzword is imposter syndrome. And I know there is 2 different sides to this. There are people who go, you feel imposter syndrome because you are. I'm not entirely sure about that. And there are people that generally, like, they don't see the world, maybe it's the negativity bias, in the way that the world sees them. What's your take on this?
Tell me the what would you say, or what have you heard talk about the symptoms of imposter syndrome? Sounds like some incurable disease for a start.
Yes, it's a syndrome for us.
Do you want some cream for that? Who did you catch it off, by the way? Slag. Okay. But what are the symptoms?
I think there's 2. I think both things I labelled there were right. People that have enough proof that they are what they say they are, and there's some form of.
Do you know the word? Discomfort. You're uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable. Why is that bad? It's good.
I agree with that.
It's a sign that you're growing.
Yes.
You don't get under if you want to get stronger, you don't get on a ball under a ball that you're comfortable lifting, do you? Do you know what I mean? If you want to grow muscle, you don't lift the weight that you don't get fitter by doing the distance that you're comfortable at. You don't get fitter by doing you don't get better at jiu-jitsu by rolling with people who you're comfortable rolling with. You roll with people those periods of extreme discomfort are where you get the most growth. So the fact that you're feeling this, that's all it is. It's often extreme discomfort. You're very uncomfortable, very awkward. Why is that bad? It means you're growing. It means you're about to get to the next level. It means you're doing something that's hard. That's all that is. I feel like I shouldn't be here. Yeah, but you are. You're just uncomfortable where you are. Guess what? Most of the time it's because you've never been there before. Why the fuck would you be comfortable there? You wouldn't be comfortable there. You know what I mean? It means that you're doing something hard. It means that you're challenged. It means that you're difficult. It means that you're under a heavy bar. It means that you're rolling with someone better. It means that you're running at a pace you've never run at before. It means you're at a distance you've never been at before. It means you're on a stage in front of more people that you've spoken in front of before. It means you're talking about something that you've never talked about before. Like, that's discomfort. That's growth. That's all it is. Yeah, that's just fear. That's just fear. And that's, for me, fear is the cost of entry to the next level. Fear is the cost of entry to everything you want. Fear is the cost of entry to the next level of growth. Fear is the cost of entry to fucking the next level in your business. It's like, if you're not scared, you're not playing a big enough game. Like, you know what I mean? If you're comfortable doing it, you're comfortable. Who's ever grown by being comfortable? You know what I mean? Like, you're supposed to be uncomfortable. That's like when people talk to me about, do you still suffer self-doubt? I'm like, yeah, because if I wasn't, I'm doing it wrong. I'm playing small. If I'm doing stuff that I know how to do all of the time, there's no growth there. I'm just like self-doubt. What else is that? Energy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fear. What else is that? Fucking energy. You know what I mean? People are like, I love your energy when you're on the stage, Paul. I'm shitting myself for the first few minutes. I am uncomfortable. Good. The comedy thing's next fucking level energy. Oh, Paul, your energy's amazing. I'm like, A, I'm talking about wanking in front of me son. B, there's some fear there. So you know what I mean? That's one thing I know about business, being in it for so long. Like, if there's no self-doubt, there's no fucking growth. That's all that is. If you're not doubting yourself, you're not playing a big enough game, you're not under a heavy enough bar, your goals aren't powerful enough, you're not in front of enough, whatever that looks like. I'm like, that is the fucking, if you're not willing to pay that price, you're not getting in the fucking theme park. You're not getting in. You pay the price, you pay for your seat, or you don't get in. That's the ultimate truth there.
Yes. You've
got imposter syndrome, you feel, I've got imposter syndrome. Well, you can't catch it, you don't have it, you just feel uncomfortable, mate. That's good. Do you think I might... It would be easy for people to say, oh, Paul, do you not feel like you've got imposter syndrome when you're doing stand-up because you've just started? I'm like, no, I'm just uncomfortable. I've never done it before. Why would I feel confident doing something I've never done?
Yes.
In a place I've never been, with people I've never met, telling jokes that I've never told before. Why would I not feel uncomfortable? That's fucking stupid. You know what I mean? I feel more confident because I'm rehearsed. I feel more confident because I've been on stages before. But there's such a big difference between talking about personal development and then talking about wanking in the bath in front of people that expect you to be funny. They're there, they expect you to be funny. When you're on a stage doing personal development and motivational stuff and the inspirational stuff, people will laugh at anything. Mostly because all the other speakers are boring as fuck.
But it's like
living, laughing and loving, and I'm talking about drinking, sniffing and wanking. It is, that's exactly what it is. That's what I mean, but it's like, it's so different. So of course I'm not going to be there's some things that I find easier. So for example, the before bit, where a lot of people panic, I'm used to the before bit. I'm used to the waiting around to be on stage. You know what I mean? I'm used to the opening line. I know what to do there. But then when it comes to, okay, he's talking while I'm on stage, what do I say now? When you're doing a keynote, people are making notes. You can get them to people are just waiting for you to be funny. And also what I've realised is just to boxing or MMA or UFC or something, when drunk men are at one of them things, they think they can fight. But I've also realised when people are drunk at a comedy gig, they think they can tell jokes, which is very interesting. But I've never dealt with that before.
Yeah.
So that's uncomfortable. But I've actually realised that's fun as fuck as well, but you don't know what they're going to say. So it's a different level of discomfort. It's just, and again, I'm in love with that feeling of discomfort. Because I know the benefit of it. It's not sexy, but the other side is.
Do you think on that then, for people like struggling with that, like everyone talks about motivation and discipline being your big driving factors. Do you think inspiration is that missing piece? Because that can help you...
Inspiration and excitement.
Yeah, because that gets you over that fear, sure.
You can't get inspired when you only think of yourself. Inspiration comes from something bigger than you. So I'm inspired. My biggest inspiration, or what I feel inspired to do, is show me kids what's possible. Like, they've been in almost every single keynote that I've done in the last 4 years. They love coming. My daughter's never been to me stand-up. I'm okay with that because I'm talking about disgusting shit. I'm talking about 69s and shagging and fucking muff diving and fucking... It's bad. And then, but the problem is, my son hasn't been to me last two because he's now in it, because he's 13. How can you not tell jokes about a 13-year-old with a permanent hard on? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, son, you don't want to come to this one, trust me. He's like, why? Because he loves comedy as well. I've sneaked him in. Mate, he's seen, fucking hell, when he was 10, so my friend Chris Ramsey's a big-time comedian now, right? He filled Newcastle Arena, he's filled the O2, right? And I've known him for a long time. In fact, I was the first ever person to pay him for comedy when my son was in my wife's vagina, right? So before he was even born, and when he was 10, I said, Chris, can you get Max in? He said, how old is he? He said, how old is he now? I said, 10. He said, I'll get him in the back door. It was over 18s only. He was the only kid in there, and people were looking at him weird, but he loved stand-up, but he couldn't come to me gigs. I'm telling rude jokes, but it's I think that inspiration, whatever you're inspired by, that's huge, man. Like, I don't really like the term discipline. Like, just, if I need discipline, it means I'm doing something that I don't like. And I don't think you can just do things that you like.
Yeah, but I say there's probably be parts of
there are things you think about this, mate. There are things in the people that talk about discipline the most are the ones that are naturally disciplined to do the thing that they love. Have you noticed that? Yeah. Or you need discipline to go to the gym. No, mate, you fucking love going to the gym. That's not discipline. That's doing something that you love. That's values, right?
That's people that don't know their market.
Yeah. And mate, there's so many people talking about discipline that can't stay off the fucking booze, man. There's some of the fitness people, I'm like, mate, you're talking about discipline? I've seen you at events and you're fucking pissed the whole time you're there. Don't fucking talk to me about discipline.
Well,
naturally disciplined. You know when I was talking about jiu-jitsu and that?
Yeah,
I don't need discipline to go to jiu-jitsu and I don't need motivation. If I need discipline and motivation, that's a sign that I don't value the thing. I don't value it. So, and again, I'm not saying you can only do things that you love. You can't. I need discipline to stay under fucking 2,000 calories a day, right? I'm okay with that. But if you need discipline to do everything, you've got the wrong fucking plan, mate. You've got the wrong plan. You're going to get discipline fucking fatigue and you're going to hate your fucking life. You're going to hate your life. If you need discipline all the time, you're going to hate your life. But the people talking about discipline, they're doing shit that they love. They don't need discipline to do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
Think about everyone that talks about discipline. They love the shit. They love it. They don't need discipline. They're confusing what they value with what other people value.
Love that.
Know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%.
He's not.
Never, ever.
I mean, he hates everything, that cunt. He's a miserable cunt. And he's quite inspirational, but I've never seen him laugh. I don't want that life.
No.
Imagine he's banter. Imagine he's banter. Shit banter. Imagine talking about wanking with him. I don't wank him. I don't wank him carrying boats. Fuck off, man. You don't even live near the sea.
Could you imagine
what boat?
The amount
Edging in it now. Edging. The kids call it edging.
That's what the kids call it.
And there's
Yeah.
no edging.
No fap.
No fap. I've done no fap loads of times.
Yeah, beneficial.
Had a bit more time.
Brian Maddox openly talked about porn addiction.
My wife hated it. She was like, "Can you not just have a wank?" Women don't think it's a thing. She didn't think it was a thing. I was like, "What? Why are you doing that?" She should, because she generally didn't know. Because I love shagging. but it's like she didn't know it was a thing. And at the point, she was like, she'd be like, "Can you not just?" She got a bit sick of me not wanking. Because I have my sex drive sky high. Since it's been on TRT, since I've been on TRT, it's even higher. So it's a what's it called? There's edging, and there's another one. I can't remember what it is. My son hates it when I say these things because the Gen Z terms into them. Edging. I'll say to him, "Me and your mum have been edging today," and he's like, "Shut up," because they say things that I don't understand. There's loads of words like mewing. There's edging. There is, I can't even think of the rest of them. Zesty. Zesty's a new word for gay. Oh, he's a bit zesty, him. Bit zesty. Oh, risen. Do you know about risen?
No.
Risen's flirting.
Oh, okay.
Risen's flirting.
Yeah,
Oh, he's trying to raise me. I've been raising your mum this afternoon, so now just flirting. But I think that. Where were we again?
We were talking about no fap and if there was benefits, and
Yes.
then we went to.
No, I just had a bit more time. I didn't really feel any different.
Yeah.
When we're talking about, it was Goggins and the no. Who's got time for that? Like, what's the point in that? Cummins one of the greatest things ever.
Going back for people that might not know your story and maybe come back into a heavy territory, because the way you're speaking now, you seem to have a lot going on in your life and a lot of opportunities, and you're decisive.
Yeah.
That wasn't the case in August 2014. What talked you off that ledge? Because you weren't in this mentality then, right?
I had this part of my personality that I was scared to let out. Actually, the funny stuff, because I was a serious businessman. I'd let anyone into my life. It was just a bit weird for me. I was trying to be the tough guy. I'd cover it up with a bit of humour. But in August 2014, that was just the point where I just moved back from living in Marbella. My daughter was about 3 months old. I was still drinking. I was still sniffing a lot. And I suppose that in that time in my life, my wife would have to follow me everywhere because she'd never know if I was going to come back. I'd disappear for 3 or 4 days at a time and turn my phone off. Just to get on the session, get away from it. I had none of the tools that I've got now. I had none of the knowledge that I've got now. I had none of I'm not even going to say support because I probably did have support, but you don't even realise.
As you said earlier on, you're not looking for it in the hole, you're just trying to keep your head above.
Yeah,
right?
you think the thing is, mate, what I've realised, same with anxiety, it's very convergent, it's very narrow. Your view of the world's very narrow with anxiety. That's why you're never anxious outside. You're outside because there's so much going on. So much, your brain's like that, but even depression, who are you thinking about when you're depressed? Only you. And that sounds weird, it sounds harsh to say that, but actually my life, it became about me, how I felt, how I was letting people down, how shit I was, how my life was so fucked, and it wasn't. The facts were, my life was fucking brilliant, but I didn't know how to master, I didn't know how to deal with feelings, I didn't know how to, I mean, you got to think about it, I was drinking and sniffing a lot, that's a fucking natural depressant, right? And the thing that changed it was my wife just said to me, think about the kids growing up as those kids with no dad. That was it. That was it. She followed me everywhere. There was a couple of moments where I was ready to go. My wife will openly say she would almost let me do it. She almost let me do it because she hated seeing me in that much pain. She hated seeing me and it hurt her. She thought she was a shit wife, which I didn't know that. Because guess who I was thinking of? Me. She thought she was a shit wife. She was like, is this... And I didn't know this until I finished my first book. And she put in an afterword. Like, I'd help and, like, giving it from her point of view, and it blew me head off. I didn't know. And I read it and it broke me fucking heart, mate. And it was never about her for me. It was always about me. And then those words, just think about the kids, and I was... Ironically, I was. They'd be better off without me. I was horrible to be around. I didn't want to be around them. They were an inconvenience to me. They annoyed me. They triggered me. They pissed me off. They were loud. I mean, fucking hell, they were 1 and 3 at the time, probably. That's hard. Yeah. That's hard. And people forget about that. And mate, I wasn't even... Leslie did all the work, not me. Yeah. So when she said, think about them growing up as with no dad, then that was like a massive kick in the testicles. I was like, fuck. And that's... It hasn't been plain sailing, but that's kind of what me life revolves quite a bit around that now. But everyone says they're a family man who's got kids. I would consider myself a family man. There's not much that I miss. There's not many places I don't take them. I don't want to have someone else babysit them. I want to be around them, which is weird. You don't see that much. People are like, why didn't you get a babysitter? I'm like, no, they're coming. I want them. I want to be with them. I want to hang around with them. They're cool. You know what I mean? I want to take them places.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially now, because I might get to an age where they don't think I'm cool to hang out with me.
When
someone wants to come to business dinners and Dad, you going out with your clients tonight? He's like, can I come? My daughter wants, she wants to come. They want to come to places with us.
Where did that start? Because a lot of times when people are talking about professional development, I think the disconnect is that it always comes from people that have battled and succeeded. Rightly so, because they have a path to the exit.
Yeah.
But there's not that relation. It's like people forget what they were like 10, 15, 20 years ago. So where did it start for you when you kind of go, okay, I've talked off the ledge, I've thought about my kids, but I'm still in the hole.
What you might not know is this. What made this worse was that I knew a bit about personal development, but I wasn't doing it, which created guilt. I'd been a wake-up warrior. A lot of people don't know that. I'd been a wake-up warrior already at that point. Garrett had showed me some outs. Did it for a bit, fucked that off as well. So then I had the shame, because part of me was like, well, I don't know how to get out of this. I don't know what to do. But then, so I was doing my best with what I knew. And then I knew more. But I wasn't doing it. Which actually, I'm not going to say that made me worse. I made it worse. Because I can't blame the tools. Well, now, the personal development made me life worse. It didn't. I made me life worse. Because I didn't fucking do anything with it. So I clearly wasn't in enough pain. It was clearly drinking and sniffing was more important to me than changing. Clearly. No matter what I say. Because your actions display what you're most committed to. At any time. Your life will demonstrate what you've been most committed to. Your actions now will demonstrate what you're most committed to right now. And I was more committed to obviously fucking escaping. I was more committed to soothing and sedation. But yeah, that was and I remember a second moment, because there was all these moments where that was a wake-up call. So Garrett woke me up. Leslie's words woke me up. The next thing that woke me up was, I remember, it was Christmas Day. Christmas Day 2014. We're living on Greenside Drift. Funny enough, my daughter's best mate lives like 2 doors away from where we used to live, which is wild. I've got to drop her off there tonight. It's always a bit weird driving past that house, because I only have bad memories of that house. Only bad memories. And I remember Christmas Day, the night before, this is horrific actually, the night before was Christmas Eve. I'm building a train set, but I've been out with the boys in the afternoon. I'm too pissed and too full of sniff to build it myself. My dad has to come round. And my dad didn't say anything, he still hasn't. But he was looking at me in a way like, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I mean? Didn't say anything, we didn't have the discussion, we still haven't. But that was like, oh, made me feel worse again. I made myself feel worse. Not my dad, me. And then the next day, Leslie goes to her mum's for Christmas lunch with the kids, and I didn't go. I was on suicide watch at the time. So the suicide watch team, a girl called Donna, spent Christmas Day for a few hours with me, just to make sure I didn't do anything stupid. And I remember she was like, were you drinking last night? I said, yeah. And she looked at me again in a way, she didn't say anything. She looked at me in a way which was like, she looked over me at the top of her glass, over the top of her glasses, like my mum used to. She still does, I swear. My dad came to see me stand-up act recently, and there's a joke about my mum in there, and he was like, I basically said, oh, my mum couldn't come tonight, but my dad said it's like that every night. And my dad told me mum about the joke, and I heard about the joke, and she looked at me over the top of the glasses. But Donna looked at me in a way which was like, you need to get a fucking grip. She didn't say it. She didn't. It might not have even been her intention.
Yeah.
So that was another little, what the fuck are you doing, mate? Do you know what I mean? And as a man, I believe, me personally, I don't need the arm around my shoulder all the time. I love praise. Like, I get praise. But I don't need to be mollycoddled. I need to be told the fucking harsh truth. I need a rocket. I need to kick up the fucking arse. I need a kick in the dick. I need to be fucking woken up. And mollycoddle didn't wake me up. Everyone had tried that. Tell me how great I was and how great my life was and how cool I was and that. I was getting so much smoke blown up me arse. I thought I was the fucking king of the dickheads. But honestly, those wake-up calls, those people would call them light bulb moments or life-changing moments, were all as a result of feeling a little bit worse, actually. Do you know what I mean? Even now, I think right before you're about to level up, things always feel worse. Doesn't matter what area. Things always feel worse right before you're about to get better. Right before you're about to get a next level, something bad happens.
I always think I had this great analogy that was told by Dr. Pat Davidson when he came on the podcast. And he was like, he was talking about battling to addiction, so he didn't talk about training at all. He just went off a big tangent. He talks about, like, he looks at life like a mountain. There's dark sides and shadow, and there's light sides on the other side.
Yeah.
When you first go to a dark side, it feels like it's forever.
Yeah.
And then when you first go through a light side, you get complacent because it feels like it's forever.
Yeah.
As you go up, the dark sides and the light sides become shorter.
Yeah, that's nice.
And it's just that awareness of that's going to come, so I'm now going to get my head out of the game.
Mate, that's such a great thing that you're saying there, because again, Dr. John, the work that I've done with Dr. John is there's no upside without a downside. There's no positive without a negative. People know it the other way around. And there's no negative without a positive, but it's actually both. There's no positive without a negative. There's no benefit without a drawback. There's no win without some kind of loss, right? There's no fucking... That just all goes hand in hand, right? So I know, it's why I never get too carried away, too emotional when something's going well. I'm never going to get swept away with it because I'm like, well, where's the shit thing that's coming?
Yes.
It's coming, which is why I'm okay with it. People get emotional. You think about bipolar, right? Everyone's bipolar. How do I know that? Because no one's happy all the time. So no one's really sad all of the time. Everyone's like that. When you have bipolar disorder, it just means you're not able to regulate that, right?
It's the same thing with ADHD, right? It's,
Yeah.
it's a spectrum. People
100%.
are like, they go, oh, I've got ADHD because I forget things sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, all right,
Yeah, or you
come
forget things.
come to my house when you've used the keys 7 times. You can't find your shoes; they're in the fridge. You know, like why are they there?
Yeah,
You know,
with disorder, everyone has bipolar. Because bipolar is just the opposite end of the spectrum. Everyone has that opposite feeling. Everyone has it. Anyone with a disorder is just not able to add order to that.
Yeah.
Most people just have ordered bipolar. They do. It's
Yeah.
order. There's more order to it.
That makes sense.
So I just don't get carried away when things go good, and I never get too carried away when things go bad. Like I almost expect it to happen. Oh, there's the downside.
Yeah.
There's the downside of that. Do you know what I mean? So, for example, right now, I've done so many speaking gigs recently, so much comedy, so many events. I've made a lot of money and had a great time, but I feel like shit because I'm fucked. So I've had all this upside. The sales team are fucking crushing it right now. Business is booming. I've got this book deal. We're booking in theatre tours. I'm getting offered fucking speaking gigs with comedy gigs with Bobby Davro, comedy gigs with fucking Clinton Baptiste, all these great comedy gigs, turning them down. I'm getting all these speaking opportunities. I turn one down in Dubai. I'm just getting all these opportunities, and that's great. But the downside is, my energy's fucking dog shit at the minute. I can't get over this virus that I've had because I haven't had enough downtime.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm going to Mexico next week for a week. That's the other upside. But then the downside of that is the business is going to be different for a week. The downside of going to Mexico is what? 10-hour flight.
Yeah.
Going to Mexico is great. 10-hour flight, which is amazing on the way out. Always is. That 10-hour flight on the way back. You know what I mean? So that everything has a downside and everything has an upside. Like, so I just don't get carried away with it too much now.
I think there's also a beauty in that analogy of like what's kept me going through this year is knowing that you can never ever know what the future will be like. You never know what the power of the universe is. So something at some point in my life, as long as I keep going and don't do anything silly, will happen that's good. Like we mentioned, I'm not sure whether on air, before air, but the maybe opportunities I might have in Miami at the start.
Yeah. Well, there's a big downside to that, isn't there?
Of course.
You already know what that is, which is why I haven't done it yet.
Well, I haven't had the chance to yet. We'll see. No, I haven't had a chance to not do it or do it. But like that could have happened if I was married, and like you mean
So that's the upside of that.
Yeah. Exactly. So, but is that better than this never happening? And who knows? It's like in that mountain analogy. I could have fallen tripped in the dark side and got to the light side going, well, maybe there would have been some mountain lion on the other side, and I've missed it because I took a little bit longer. You're never going to be able to know whether that could have been better.
Yeah.
But you never know. So you're just going to go,
I think the biggest thing, if I look at almost every unpleasant negative emotions, is as a result of unmet expectations. I expected this to be one-sided. Like if I think all anger is unmet expectations. Something didn't meet your expectations, somebody else didn't meet your expectations. So all anger, all stress, unmet expectations. All frustration, unmet expectations. Like all of those negative emotions are all the result of unmet expectations. Now it's not about lowering your expectations, it's just about expecting people to act the way they do. It's not about me. I'm not the main character in anyone else's game but mine. You know what I mean? Like I'm not the main character. So
you're raising the expectation for yourself.
Yeah, you are. You are. And I expect people to act the way that they do for them. I expect things not to go perfectly. I expect shit might go wrong. I do that on the stage as well. That's why I'm comfortable on the stage. Because I know things could go wrong. That's why I don't get too stressed about it. Fucking hell, I've been in jails where nothing worked. Do you know what I mean? I've been in jails where someone stood up and kicked off in the middle of the fucking talk. But I expect that. So I never get too carried away with it. Now, in a comedy, I expect a bit of heckling. It's fine. I expect to be nervous. You know what I was saying about feeling uncomfortable and this imposter syndrome? Like, I expect to feel uncomfortable, so therefore I don't get too carried away with it. I never get too emotional with it. I'm like, oh, of course I'm uncomfortable. I've never done it before. Of course I'm uncomfortable. I'm telling a new joke. You know what I mean? It's meant to be uncomfortable. So my expectation, it's not lowering expectations, it's just managing them. It's just manage them. Okay, I expect things to go wrong. I expect things to go right as well. But when you only expect things to go right, you're fucked.
You mentioned in your story that you had all this external success,
Yes.
but you felt empty.
Yes.
Do you think that most successful people are coming from this place of just trying to fill a void rather than...
I don't know. I think everyone has a different definition of success. Yeah. I think everyone has a different definition of success. For me, I still like nice things. I mean, I drove a brand new Porsche this morning. I still like nice things. I have an office that's massive. Got upstairs as well. I don't really need it. I've got a nice house. I like nice things. I like flying business class. You know what I mean? But the challenge for me was, I've also been broke. I've also had no money. I've been unhappy broke. I've been unhappy successful. I've been happy successful as well. Like, I'm okay with all of it. But actually, it's about how I get paid now. It's about how I get paid. I love doing the thing that I do to get paid. The nice things are just a side effect.
Do you think you needed to be broke? Do you think you needed the chip on your shoulder?
Nah, I don't think so. I think the big thing that I found was when I set all these goals when I was like 21, when I got a 34, it just didn't feel like I thought it would. Do you know what I mean? Now I expect, actually, you know what? I'm going to get this new Porsche. I'll be bored after a couple of weeks. I'm still going to get it.
Yeah.
Fuck it. It feels nice. It feels nice. It's a treat to myself for all the hard work. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes like, should I just hand this back and get a fucking Mini? And I'm like, no, I like driving a nice car. I like driving a nice car. It's a symbol to myself that I'm fucking working hard, and guess what? I deserve it. I serve a lot of people at a very fucking high level, so I deserve the car.
Yeah.
So for me, though, it's about how I get paid and my mission. My mission. I had a conversation yesterday with a lady, and I hate this saying. Paul, have you heard about being open to receiving? I'm like, yes, by the fucking hippie crowd that wear cowboy hats and talk about manifestation. Sings Come By All Around the fucking Fire. I'm sure I was singing that when I came in, wasn't I?
Yeah, you were. What a way to shit on your point you're about to make.
I just said, open a receipt. And she said, because someone asked me, if I gave you 100 grand, would you take it? And she went, no. I said, but would you take it if she said, I'll give you 100 grand for changing my life? She said, yes. I said, well, there you go. Because most people just don't feel like they deserve success. But I know that the word deserve comes from the Latin meaning of to serve. And I know that serving people, if you live a life of service, people that I know that live a life of service are usually pretty happy in general. We're not happy all the time, you're not supposed to be. They're pretty happy, they're pretty driven, and they tend to be successful. They live a life of service. They serve other people, and they get rewarded for it. And they get rewarded, I would say, I don't know the right word. Soulfully, that's the wrong word. They get rewarded emotionally, and they get rewarded financially. That's if they know how to sell as well, by the way. They don't know how to sell, they'll just get the emotional part, which is enough for some people. Think about someone in the NHS. They serve people at a high level, they're just not rewarded financially, because it's not their business. Do you know what I mean? It's not. Think about someone that works for a private doctors, though. I know a lot of them. They live a life of service, and they are rewarded financially. Often because they've took the risk. That's often what it's down to.
You mentioned earlier on about people struggling.
But people in the NHS feel they don't leave. They get a deep sense of satisfaction from what? Serving people.
Do you think you mentioned deserve, like people feeling that you don't deserve success, and you mentioned having to fall in love with the marketing earlier on. Do you think that's why people? I don't want to even use procrastinate, but don't do as much of the things like outreach, emails. Do you think it's this component that's actually more important?
A little bit, yes, a little, yes. Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of things that I don't do because I don't want to. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't do sales calls, so I hire other people to do it.
But you choosing not to do it, as opposed to some people maybe
who need to do it.
For example, I'll look at, if I have two options, I can make stuff for my students, or I could do outreach. Mm-hmm. I know for a fact the things I do for my students will benefit them, and they will love it. Mm-hmm. My outreach, I don't necessarily know that putting in this amount of hours is going to get me this return. Mm-hmm. So it's that.
You know why people don't want to do that? They're scared of the rejection. It's easier to get caught up in fulfillment. Because that's usually the reason you started your business, to do the thing that you love doing. Yeah. Selling it is very different. Selling it, you face the prospect of someone telling you to fuck off. You face the prospect of someone saying no to you. I don't frame it as they're saying no to me, they're saying no to themselves. Mm-hmm. I know that I'm the catch. You know what I mean? I know that my program's life-changing, so if someone says no, I'm like, well, it's not my loss. It's your loss. Do you know what I mean? So actually, people not doing the marketing and the selling is more to do with their fear. They don't want to get rejected, they don't want to get criticised, they feel icky. They say they feel icky selling. I'm like, you never feel icky when someone buys though, do you? You only feel icky in that initial bit where you don't know what they're going to say, because we take the rejection personally. That's why sales team's so good, because they don't have any emotional attachment to my program.
Yeah.
They want to get paid, obviously, but they're not bothered about being rejected. They'll just pick up and call the next person. They'll send the next message. You know what I mean?
Yes, it's not a knock. It's not a knock on their program.
Exactly.
I need to
exactly. They're not calling their baby nasty names.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not their baby, so they don't give a fuck. It's just it's Paul's baby. Fuck that. I'm not bothered. But that's the reason why people don't do the outreach, because they're scared of rejection. And it's not really rejection though. It's just someone making a decision that they think's better for them.
Or in the sense.
And the reason that they're not signing up with you is often because of their fear. It was this constant state of fear.
And going back to that North Star thing earlier on, the journaling prompt you have, if you have that North Star, that's feedback. And okay, how do I make sure that their questions they have and their concerns I can answer within my marketing? If you don't have that North Star in that direction,
I'm shit, no one's buying.
Yes, exactly.
People are like, oh, Paul, they're shit leads. I'm like, they're not shit leads. So I get this all the time when I'm working with people on their ad campaigns. Like, Paul, I'm just getting these shit leads. I'm like, what makes them not shit? Well, they didn't buy 3 seconds after they discovered who I was. Mm-hmm. Mate, people take a long time to buy. That's why I love email. That's why you got to keep serving. Like, you're giving up on your leads. It's not them giving up on you. You've given up on them because they didn't buy. But 3 seconds before, they didn't know who you were. And you're expecting them to give you money. Someone that they've never met, which means they can't know you, they can't like you, and they can't trust you. And you expected them to buy straight away. Fuck off. Do you know what I mean? They're not shit leads. You're just impatient as fuck.
For a man that's been famous for daily emails, other than consistency, because I know that's what you're going to say.
Yes.
What is the best advice for writing a good email? Asking for a friend, because I, of course, always send my emails.
Have fun writing it. It's not going out. I love writing. If I wouldn't read it, I wouldn't send it. Mm-hmm. Have fun writing them. Make them story-based. Make an offer. Most people who send emails don't make offers. Like, what's the point in sending an email?
How often should someone make an offer? Every single time?
Every time they want to get paid. Guess what? I want to get paid daily. I want the tilt to ring in my business every day. And now it's even more challenging because my sales team are on commission. If I don't make sales, they don't get paid. If I don't get calls booked for them, they don't get paid. Mm-hmm. So I like that pressure though. I'm like, oh, okay, my marketing now has more purpose. Because I'm not just feeding my kids, I'm feeding their kids. You get what I'm saying? Like, I like that though.
You can see it from the whiteboard out there.
Yeah.
This is how many people we want. This is how many people we've got.
And the whole team are paid on that. And I've got, there must be, so Sim's on here, Cass not in here, that's 4 in here. We've got the sales team. I employ like 9 people now. A lot of people don't know that. Still think it's just me because I'm the face. I do the fun part. I do the marketing, and I do the content, and I do the teaching. That's it. And I do the coaching. That's all the shit that I love doing. I don't do any of the shit that I don't like doing. None of it. The only thing that I have to do that I don't really like is PowerPoint slides. And even then, sometimes I'll just do white background, black text, and Connor makes them look sexy.
Yeah.
That's it. Connor, turn this into something sexy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's I like that pressure, and I like the marketing is just more purpose now, because a reel isn't marketing. It isn't marketing. It's a popularity contest. Yeah. What's the purpose of it? The purpose of a reel is just to get attention, really. But then what happens after that? Okay, someone like your reel, so fuck. 1 million people have seen it, so fuck. What you gonna do? Retarget them with an ad, or you're gonna DM everyone that's seen it and say, hey, I saw it, like my video. Is there anything I can help you with? I'm not doing that. I have somebody else doing that. But I'm like, what's the point in that? What is the purpose of that marketing? Now, this is the shit that allows you to make better decisions with what you're doing. Am I doing that? Okay, well, I'm going to post that. Why? Because it's funny. Okay, cool. What are you going to do after that? People laugh at it. So fuck. And I think so many people just get caught up in business and not a popularity contest. You know what I mean? I can't fly my family to Mexico with likes. I can only fly them there with money. I can't put my daughter in a private school with views on my video.
And that's what you need more than a skit, right? Because, say, go on.
Skits are great. I love a skit.
And you're good at them. Yeah. And you're a naturally funny guy.
Yeah.
But I come onto your page. I was looking at your page yesterday and I saw the skit about people taking the piss at you in real life.
Oh, real life.
Right?
And
then the next skit was something about mental health.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, I would have, if I didn't know who you were, I would have found your page to do that and stay for your page to do that and then stay further through the email.
Exactly.
And
also, there's only a couple there. I'm like, I like making them. That's the thing. I like making them. They're fun to make. That's why I'll do them every now and again. But I'm like, actually now, what benefit is that adding to my team's bottom line? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? How am I feeding their kids with that video?
And most of those
how am I even helping people with that video?
And most of those people aren't going to be the people that buy from you. Our mutual friend Rob McGeary had a reel go viral relatively recently. None of them were interested in what he's selling. No. So, and to the point
unless you've got a business like so, you know, I'm good friends with Paul Lima. Paul, in my opinion, makes the best videos on Instagram. Me and my son, there's not a day goes by when he doesn't forward me one of Lima's reels, as if I haven't already seen it. My son loves him because he's hilarious, but his business is built on video views.
Yeah.
He's not trying to sell coaching. He's not trying to sell mentoring. His business is built on views. He's running Simon Cowell's Instagram now. How good's that? Brilliant, that, isn't it? Aye, brilliant, isn't it? And that's his full-time gig. It's like with people, again, people are trying to be Chris Williamson, but they're playing at it.
Yeah.
Chris has done 3 podcasts a week for fucking 7 years, 8 years. Right? And they're doing one every 2 weeks and wondering why they're not Chris.
Yeah.
Like, you're fucking dabbling at it. He's doubled down at it. You're dabbling at it. So don't expect the results of someone that doubles down when you're only dabbling. Same with email. Mate, you sent 1 email a week for 6 weeks and you tell me email doesn't work. I've sent 6 a week since 2012. Do you know what I mean? Same. Here's an example I got from that, right? So what I love is I seen an advert from James Smith recently. He was like, email marketer wasn't dead. And I'm like, thank God someone else has seen it. Yeah. The people that say it doesn't work are the people that either don't do it or are fucking shit at it. You know what I mean? It's like people that say jiu-jitsu doesn't work. The only people that say jiu-jitsu doesn't work are people that can't do it.
Macro tracking doesn't work.
No, the people that don't do it.
Yeah, well, they do it.
Yeah, shut up, man. Yeah. So an example on this though, this whole frequency thing is, I remember in 2018 I started training jiu-jitsu, and a year later I'm still shit. Smith's got his blue belt, and I'm pissed off. I'm like, oh, it's because he's younger. It's because he played rugby, right? It's because he's fucking better looking. Do you know what I mean? It's because he's got a big following and he's better at jiu-jitsu. But actually I realised that for that year, I'd been doing maximum 2 sessions a week. I'd been kind of toying at it, and then maybe 1 week I'd do 4, and then the next week I wouldn't do any. He'd been hitting 5, 6 sessions a week, every fucking week for a year. So of course he's going to be better than me because he's not fucking dabbling. He's fucking doubled down with it. Do you know what I mean? And that changed my approach to a lot of things. I was like, why is my YouTube not growing? Because I'm dropping a video a week. I'm dropping a video every other week. So then I was like, okay, and this is going back to the decision criteria. This thing that I'm doing, am I going to double down on it or am I going to dabble at it? If I'm going to keep dabbling at it, I either can't expect results or I may as well delete it. So I stopped YouTube, I stopped LinkedIn, I've stopped doing the podcast, I've stopped doing the stand-up for a little bit because why would I? It's just dabbling. When I'm ready to go all in on the comedy, I probably will. But even then, I'm just like, on Wednesday, I was like, fuck, I need to do more of this. But then I'm looking at my calendar, I'm like, do I really? Or am I on my mission? My mission right now is getting 500 people in my program, building a cult. The mission will change at some point. Once I've got 500 people, I might burn the entire thing to the ground. Set everyone on fire. I might not, I would, but do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, stop fucking dabbling at everything. Fucking find a couple of things that you can be fucking world class at and fucking double down on it.
On that opportunity at BJJ.
Because we think we have to do everything because we think everybody else is doing everything. They're fucking not.
No. And on the BJJ analogy, the thing I've learned, almost from a comparison thing that you were saying about James, is that everyone's coming into stuff with a very, very, very different back record and mentality. Pro wrestling is an amazing way of doing this because it's such a varied skill set, right? It's not just grappling, it's jumping, it's stunt work, it's flips. I know somebody who was doing this up and over, where you come over the ropes, you basically push yourself up, kick back, and someone comes underneath you.
Yes.
I'm pretty good at that because I've been, training all my life. I play rugby. I'm strong. I can literally hold myself there and let them.
Yes.
But if you ask me to do a flip bump,
Yeah.
Some kids are there were doing flips on trampolines and into pools when they were 13.
Yeah.
I've never done that.
Yeah.
So even doing a forward roll scares the fuck out of me.
How do you should say that? Because in jiu-jitsu, some gyms you go to, they do forward rolls in the warm-up. I have to skip them. I do one and I feel sick for 5 minutes.
Oh, mate, you should do it in my head. I just don't like the idea of it on my neck.
I feel sick for 5 fucking minutes.
Yeah.
So I just don't do it. I'm just doing fucking star jumps on the side. Fucking old man that I am.
Yeah.
And there are some situations, you know, Simon, where people just started before you. That's sometimes the only differentiator.
Yeah.
I remember I did a seminar again when I first started jiu-jitsu with John Kavanagh, Conor McGregor's coach, and I had a bit of a meltdown. And he said, like, the difference between me and you, he's a black belt, I was a white belt. He said, I just started before you. And he said this saying, it's cheesy as football, but a black belt is just a white belt that didn't quit.
Brilliant.
It's dope, innit? That's a dope ass saying. Like, I'm like, fucking hell. But it is. Some people that are further ahead on YouTube, you're like, they start before you. They've been going longer and they've worked harder than you. It's what I was saying before. When I looked at the camera, I probably worked harder than you. Because that's the fucking truth. I started before you. I've worked harder than you. I've been more consistent with you. And I probably still will be more consistent than you are now. That's the only difference sometimes. It's not that I'm more talented. It's that I've been doing it longer.
Before I give the closing question of where people find you, if they're coming through my page, so your guys get paid.
Yes.
You know, I always ask a closing question to everybody. And the reason I ask this is because people will look at, maybe you've followed you for a while and will see the success you've had, and will still so far away from it. And sometimes it's so good. I think we've done this a lot on this show anyway, but to kind of go, right, we're not perfect, we make mistakes, and you just need to do it longer.
All the time.
What is one thing you've changed your mind on? This could be business, this could be personal. It's a deliberately vague question. But what is one thing you've changed your mind on?
Well, if I tell you this, almost everything that I do as habits, as behaviours that I love, at some point I've taken the piss out of. Exercising on holiday is an example. I used to rip the piss out. Why would you exercise on holiday? I love exercising on holiday. Because I've got more time. I can train harder because I've got nothing to do the rest of the day. I can go hard as fuck. I can train longer. I can eat better after. So that's one thing. I'm like journaling for teenage girls, isn't it? There's another thing. Jiu-jitsu, what? Rolling around the floor with young men with tight clothes on. Change your mind on that. What the fuck are you doing? Meditation for hippies. Tree huggers, right? Cold baths. Cold ice baths. Cold showers for people who think they're hard as fuck. Like, I've changed your mind on so many things. The biggest one is probably just that you have to do shit that you hate all the time to live a life that you love. Probably there's people would maybe call it the hustle culture or the grind culture. I've changed my mind on that, and I love hard work. I think it's necessary. I do think it's necessary. But working very hard on things that you can't fucking stand, for me, is mental. Sometimes you got to think, is it that I don't like because I'm not very good at it? Or do I just despise even trying to get better at it? Like, if I'm doing things that I hate, I've built the wrong plan. I've got the wrong plan. If I'm constantly doing things that I hate. Because the ironic thing is, Simon, people that build these plans and these strategies and these systems and these fucking ideas, and they fill them full of things that they hate and then hate themselves for not doing it. That's a fucking paradox. I'm like, okay, is there a different way to get that result where it might take longer? In fact, you might not even get the perfect result, but you don't hate the journey. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know that if I wanted to get shredded, I would have to all I'd have to do is get me calories and me protein right and lift weights. Maybe do a bit of fucking, get me step count right. But I fucking hate lifting weights. So why would I build a program where I force myself to do it? So I just train jiu-jitsu where I lift men instead of dumbbells.
Just progressive overload. 50 kilo man, 55 kilo man, 60 kilo man.
I bench press guys instead of fucking bench pressing a bar with fucking plates on the end. Like, and by the way, I do still do weight training twice a week. But I was saying to you before we started that when I do the weight training, me guys like, here's how it benefits your jiu-jitsu. So I'm like, I might not get as shredded as I wanted to get, but can I still get lean as fuck training jiu-jitsu? Well, fucking yeah, we can. Do you know what I mean? Like I might not get the optimal result. There's an optimal way to do things, but if that optimal way is a way that you're not going to do, and you know deep down that it's not optimal at all, it's pointless. You know what I'm saying? It's like there would be an optimal way to run my business and build it where I want it, which is not me doing all the coaching.
And I always have this question.
Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, why do I not? I do all of the coaching.
Yeah. I had this question I always ask when I was working with clients, and I work with coaches. When I was working with clients, they were like, I really hate this exercise. And the question I always come back with was, do you hate it because you hate the exercise? In which case, fair enough, we'll change it. Or do you hate it because it's hard? Yeah. Because whatever I replace it with will also be hard.
Yeah. And I think you can fall in love with hard.
I agree.
There's no harder cardio than jiu-jitsu. I'm telling you now.
Boxing, I've learned that.
I was boxing. I boxed for a long time. My son's a boxer. Boxing's easy compared to jiu-jitsu.
I agree with that.
See what I mean? But that doesn't mean that I don't love it. It's hard. I get fucking humbled multiple times a week. Multiple times. I get brought down off me high horse multiple times a fucking week. I get me ego fucking smashed multiple times a week, right? But I love that. I don't know what it is. I can't even describe all the ways that I love it, right? But then also, what else is hard? Business. Hard. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. It is hard. And again, though, I'm not doing all the optimal things for my business. I'm not doing LinkedIn. I'm not doing YouTube. I'm not running YouTube ads. I'm not, you'd kill it on LinkedIn. But I fucking hate it. Yeah. What? Like, it's full of fucking nerds lying to try and be cool. That's what LinkedIn is. It's full of fucking geeks lying about what they've done and what they haven't done, who trying to look cool. It's fucking awful. I hate it. Can you tell?
I'm with you.
Honestly, I go on. The first thing I look at when I see a post on there, I'm like, no, you didn't. It's the first thing I think. No, you didn't. You just made that up.
It's like all the people that like all your posts on Instagram, and you go, there's a DM coming.
Yeah, there is a DM
12-year-old marketing business coach.
Is this a good place to ask a question? No, fuck off. Fuck off.
The filter system I always get is because my Instagram's Kingsley Dutton, but my name's Simon. When people go, hey Kingsley, really like your page. Well, you haven't read the bio, have you?
Yeah, no.
You know?
Nah. I get, and they don't even follow you. No. But yeah, it's just like, I know that I probably could make money on LinkedIn, but I'd rather make less money doing things that I love. Double down on things that I love.
Which might in turn make you more.
And again, love doesn't always mean it's easy.
No.
Do you know what I mean? I love hard stuff, but I don't love all hard stuff. If I hate it, I've got no interest in it, and it's hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Unless I can link it. Like, I can link weight training to jiu-jitsu.
Exactly.
But I can't link bodybuilding weight training to jiu-jitsu. What, so I look better rolling around the floor with young men with really tight clothes on? Doesn't really interest me, that. I don't want to look better doing it. I'm not arsed.
That's the thing. We talk about changing journeys, and that's the thing I've learned this whole way. I've been into bodybuilding all of my 20s.
I get why people are into it. I'm just not.
I took the piss. You know, you said earlier on, the thing you've changed your mind on is you've took the piss out of. Yeah. When I was in my 20s, I looked at everyone started doing BJJ in their 30s. I'm like, I'm not going to do that. Bodybuilding for life. Fucking weirdos. Yeah. Getting to my 30s, I'm like, I don't really like bodybuilding anymore. Yeah. Shit.
Yeah.
And then I'm there going...
So your horizon has shifted a little bit.
Absolutely.
I mean, I used to love doing one-to-one coaching. Now I don't like it. I used to love small groups of people. Now I like big groups. But in comedy, I've actually realised this week. When I'm on a stage doing the motivational stuff, the more people that are there, the better. If I'm the gigs where I'm doing 2,000 people are way more fun than 20. But actually in comedy, the intimate groups are really good because you can get into people. Yeah. Whereas if you're and I've never done a massive stage for comedy yet, but the smaller the room, the more close you are to the people, you can have a bit of banter with them. You can do a bit of crowd work and a bit of fun, and the hecklers you can actually see, and it's and I've no doubt them big stages will come, because the beautiful thing about what I'm doing is that I can fill a room for the motivational stuff and throw the comedy in. Mm-hmm. Know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so I'll do a theatre tour next year. I think we're doing between 4 and 6 dates. Not 5, either 4, 5 or 6. Okay. Right? When I say that between 4 and 6, they're like, do you mean 5? I'm like, no, 4, 5 or 6. I've got no doubt that I'll throw in all of the comedy stuff. So we'll get to see, but yeah, the whole journey just fascinates me. Like, it's a game. My life's a fucking big game.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that. So for people that want to learn more about you, where to find these big events, go to them.
How do people find them? I'm going to tell you right now, go to Audible or Amazon and get me last book. I'm under pressure to make some sales. No, I'm not. Instagram's a great place to follow me. I have a decent Facebook. In fact, I have a bigger Facebook following, but I don't like that platform either. It's full of fucking angry fat men. Sorry. It is. And I advertise on there because their advertising platform's better, and some angry fat men are ready to change. Some men aren't. But I don't really like that platform. Instagram's probably the best place to follow me and interact with me. I could send you my website, but it's boring, so I won't.
Mate, this has been great. I've really enjoyed this. Thank you for your time.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.